Well, welcome. Today we have a really amazing panel of an amazing amount of combined experience here. All three people here are on the VRMA Board of Directors, so we're getting there with female representation on the Board of Directors, part of the diversity of what VRMA is standing for and working towards. We always have a ways to go. I'm Susan Blizzard, and I'm with Blizzard Internet Marketing. It's just a division of Red Awning. And we are, I am also on the board of directors as a supplier member, so I get the opportunity to ask these great women these questions. I think you may have noticed Jodi when she spoke this morning. She is the head and president of the Vacation Rental Managers Association, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Jodi for quite a long time as she's grown her company to over 400 units. And I've also had the pleasure of knowing Carole and Melanie, and I'm going to go ahead and have them introduce each of themselves so that you can understand where they're coming from and what knowledge they're bringing to this panel. Carole?
I'll start. I'm Carole Sharoff. I live in Gloucester, Massachusetts, which is northern Massachusetts, almost on the New Hampshire border, about 40 miles outside of Boston. New England, and so I'm the owner of the company. It's called Atlantic Vacation Homes. It's a company that I founded maybe 35 years ago. It just sort of happened. I'm not an MBA. I have actually a master's in historical archaeology and a bachelor's in French, which has helped me a lot in my world of vacation rentals, as strange as that seems. But anthropology is a great academic study because that is what the business is all about. So it's not that I'm an MBA and I wrote my plan and then worked it. It sort of came the other way around. I did marry a guy who has an MBA and a strategic planner, and that helped. And right now, I have 2 of my 3 children are working with me at the firm. Michelle Williams is our general manager, and then my son Jonathan is our guest experience specialist. We have about 100 houses. We also do long-term rentals and celebrity rentals and sales. So we're kind of a full-service agency. Right now, we're moving from a beautiful Victorian building that we've been in for 15 years to kind of an ugly gray metal building closer to the beach, all on one level. But as our business has changed, so that now we're doing cleaning and trash and laundry. I never wanted to do that before, but we do that now. And I got some great leads from some of the people sitting here. And I do want to say that I've been a member of the VRMA for about 20 some odd years. It changed my life, it changed my business, and I'm very proud to give back to it. I've been on the board for 6 years. This is my last year, and then I term out. I'm currently secretary and membership chair.
Excellent.
You do trash? We have to talk.
I do trash. I love driving the trash.
Joe wants a trash truck. Anyway, hey, I talked to most of you guys, so I'll try to be quick. My name is Jodi. My company is about 11 years old. We have over 400 homes. I have 125 employees, 175 in season. We are a full service property management company, so it's our housekeepers, our maintenance guys, our hot tub techs, our marketing crew, our accounting, everything's in-house. We also have a property service division that has non-rental homes, and so we also do housekeeping for them, lawn work, dock work, plowing. Honestly, that's where we got our money in the beginnings. You know, you rent a house, but they don't come for 6 months, so you don't have cash. So we started that with our lawnmowers we had at our house to cut the lawns, to save enough money to get a plow, to put on my husband's truck, to get enough money to get like decent lawn equipment. But it's a good feeder market. We also have 43 realtors. We started real estate in 2014. It wasn't something I intended to do. It just happened. We just expanded our office this past year and added on 30 new offices to welcome all the realtors in with a 30-person conference room, which my son currently is playing Fortnite on his 85-inch conference TV because we do not have school, and it's because mom's out of town. No snow. Or we have snow. So I've been with VRMA over 15 years. I have to say, the first time I spoke with Ann, and we facilitated a roundtable out west, and she told me, honey, they're grooming you. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. My dad was on the board for VRMA back then, and I have been speaking ever since. I spoke first time with George Refosco I said I was going to keep this short. And I remember I was so prepared. I had my notes. They were color-coded. They had graphs, and I was ready to speak. And as soon as we got up there, he threw them in the trash. I think my whole heart dropped. I thought I was going to pass out. But I did it, and so I've gone ever since. And I learn more by giving than by sitting. So I do tell you guys, it is really good to give back because you do learn from everybody else and engaging. I have been on the VRMA board for now 6 years. I was secretary, I think, for 3, president-elect for 1, and now I'm president. But I'm just honored to be here and work with all you fine ladies. Your turn, I'm sorry.
How do you follow that? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Melanie Robbins. I'm with Oak Island Accommodations. I'm in Oak Island, North Carolina. And our business is, we've been in business, we're in our 29th year. My family owned it for 25 years and sold it 3 years ago. I'm still there, working there. Everything's still the same. But everything I learned in this industry came from VRMA. And I have to say that because that's where you learn so much from the people that you're sitting next to, aside from just your sessions and things. So all that I mean, we've been members, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I was very young when I got started in this business. I was still in high school, coming in through the co-op program, and then in summers in college, I would come and work full time. So I went in full time after I graduated, and I have been doing nothing but this since. So it's all that I know. And so I'm at the point where I enjoy giving back because I learned so much from VRMA. And what I'm honored to be on is a board with so many talented people and people who are knowledgeable, and you still learn from those people. There's still people even in this room who have been in the industry even longer than I have, and they were my mentors. And now sitting up next to them on a board is just, it's such an honor. But you also learn so much from it, and so being on the board and being here today it's humbling. So we'll get started. Sorry. We could just sit here and chit-chat the whole day.
Yeah, well, actually, no, it's excellent. A lot of the questions that we have for this background are questions that you guys answered in your introductions, which is amazing. But I do think it'd be really cool to go into maybe one of the lessons or challenges that you've had throughout your time as running your company, and how the VRMA may have helped you, or your networking, or other people may have helped you overcome those challenges. So if you have something along those lines, whoever wants to go first can go first. We don't need to always pick on Carole first.
Well, I'll go first this time because I have this thought that when I started coming to the VRMA, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't even know anyone that had a vacation rental company, and I had no idea what I was doing, made it all up. But I went to a session, and the guy from Al Williams session. And he taught me, and many more people, how to charge a fee. And I was like, oh my goodness, the whole world changed. So I never got as good as others did at it. I don't like to overcharge people or do too much, but that was like the first thing. That paid for any trip I ever made to any VRMA conferences.
Well, I have a long list because I feel like I will just do one, but I feel like when you're growing a company, you hit a lot of them. We were fortunate to know what not to do when we started our company 10 years ago, because I was in the industry with my parents beforehand. But my mom and dad said, Jodi, you're not in business to make friends, and sometimes that's a tough decision because and I'm the first one. I don't get as personal as my brother and my husband do with employees, but I don't hire friends because I also fire friends, and that doesn't make a good relationship.
You don't have any friends.
Yeah, I don't. I work. Just kidding. But so HR was a very tough thing for me. It's still a tough thing for me. It's hard to find good employees that have that same drive as you do. And I'm like, I always am the one giving 110%, but I don't expect that from my employee. But it's just like, sometimes it's a very hard go. I'm fortunate. I got amazing people. I brought 3. They're really good. One did the slides. She's awesome. But HR was one. But the other one I wanted to say is, insurance. We'll go over that later. But anyway, I learned a lot from these guys. I learned a lot from coming to sessions. And, you know, it's not like stealing ideas. You're sharing ideas and you're just maneuvering it a way to work for your company. And I this morning, I had so many ideas. I couldn't believe some of the things she said. Why didn't I think of that? So I'm definitely going to pick her brain later. I don't think she's in here. I will.
There's also a long list, but one kind of a basic challenge was trying to figure out better customer service skills and phone skills and how to take a reservation. And so one of the very first VRMA conferences I attended, I wish I could remember the year, but it was in Palm Springs, California. So I don't know, those of you who've been in here a long, long time, what year that was, but that was when Doug Kennedy, he's now Kennedy Training Network, but it used to be HSA. Yes, with the pineapple, right? And so I went to his session. It was a separate session, and it was a full day. And I learned so much from that and took that back and continued to train the staff with it. And it was amazing how just going to one conference and asking, that was a small challenge, but it certainly turned into a very successful one.
Excellent. Can I see a show of hands of all the people that are in the Vacation Rental Managers Association? Yeah? Okay.
That's great.
And anyone else who wants to join? No.
We did bring brochures if you just want to know a little bit more about it.
Is there anyone who would be willing to kind of tell us what you'd like to see in the association? I mean, we're here at the Vacation Women's Summit. There's a very great summit going on, and I think a lot of people are getting great value out of it. I've been having those conversations from everybody, just from the very first day, the very first minute they got here. They were getting great things from the conference. But anything that you can think of for the associations that you'd like the association to do? Yeah?
Yes.
And I don't need a, you can hear Keon, right? Okay, all right. I was thinking.
Vacation Rental Management Association, right? So management, I met a lot of homeowners here, like, you know, I have one property, I love it, I enjoy it, or two property, I mean, there's just homeowners.
Right.
Are they qualified to join VRMA?
Yes. So I'm membership chair. We have one category for, so remember it's management. So what's considered, I think the definition of professionally managed is changing a bit, because obviously someone who has one home that's not their main home that they bought and that they're renting out, it's a business. And we respect that. The way the VRMA has been set up in categories, there is a category for a new member that has one property, and it's good for 1 year. That's the way it stands right now. So that if your intention is to grow to 2 properties, then that's great. Then it gets to be extended. But if it's one property and that's all that it is, that's something that we as a board need to look at, because I do think that the influx of the rent by owner is more recent than the bylaws. And so we are a changing company, association.
Association, yeah. Okay.
Teresa.
Okay. On that note, I've been coming to the VRMA since 1996. I've missed 2. One because I just had a baby. The other one because it was supposed to be here in New Orleans. We had a hurricane, and it went to Atlanta, and it was over Halloween, and I had small children. So, I think that VRMA is doing a great job on a lot of things, but I do feel a little uncomfortable with the dilution of it with all these homeowners. And I will say that one of the biggest problems that I have had in the last several years of going to the VRMA is those of us who have been coming for years and years and years, it is very difficult to find the others who have been going for years and years and years. And you wind up meeting a lot of new people, which is not a bad thing, but when I'm coming to the VRMA to kind of reconnect, regroup, learn some other things that managers are doing, and I'm constantly being asked by homeowners how to grow their business, I'm like over it. So,
You really feel?
listen, I don't have a problem with a little bit of it, but at the same point, I think that more breakout sessions for seasoned, real managers, and you're not allowed to go in there unless you're a seasoned manager breakout. you know, like we used to do the small company, large company, and then the small companies would, if they were getting close to the large company, would go into the large company, and that was one thing. But, you know, and we did have them so that just owners could go, so our employees weren't in there. So we could actually talk meat and potatoes about some other stuff. But I think that they need to have some breakout things that are for certain categories so that we're not walking around blindly not finding our people anymore.
It's in the works. I've been talking, like we've all been
We
talking
hear
as a
you.
board.
You're not alone.
No, you're not alone. I mean, there was 1,800 people.
I know,
mean, I never talk about my husband. He's 6'7", right? Like there was a lot of people. So there are things. So just so know that has been brought to light, because we even talked there about that, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do want to reiterate one other thing that I suggested to probably several people on the board for the last several years. These little things that we have here on the bottom that say like, first time, blah, blah, blah. You know, those of us who've been coming for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 80 years, whatever, we should have something that acknowledges that we have committed to VRMA. You know, like, you know, really, because there's, you know, we get a lot of little accolades for all the people joining us. But, you know, to constantly be saying, yeah, I've been here for 25 years, you know.
We
you
can
know,
make
when
that
somebody's
happen.
like, is this your first year? No, it's not, you know. And so I just think that would be really nice and make people feel proud that they've been coming for a long period of
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
And Jodi, you want to talk about the executive summit? Because this is
Yeah,
exactly
we're
why
gonna-
we created this new
Yeah, we're going to
conference.
be, you should be getting some information about an executive summit, which is for the executive of the company or CEOs, and it's going to be outside of Los Angeles, right? And it's in June, but you'll be getting information about that. So it's going to be a really small group, and it's going to be people of CEO or owners or something like that, and just one per company. So it's going to be a much smaller group. I'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah,
But there are some other things like that are coming down the pipeline, because we do recognize that issue. I mean, I don't get a lot of homeowners that come up to me, but I get a lot of people that are building their companies, which I don't mind talking to them. But I know what you're saying. Like, you know, I want someone that's gonna, like, I want to hear some stuff too,
Right.
that will help me grow my company all the time. So anyway.
Do you want to ask that question? You were, I don't know, first raising your hand.
Hi, my name's Diana. I'm in South Tahoe, manage 60 homes, and have grown a lot I've only been in business for 5 years. And I'm wondering what the VRMA is doing in terms of helping with advocacy. And you know, we're all battling our grumpy neighbors and ordinances, and we just lost a ballot measure to ban vacation rentals in the city of South Lake Tahoe. So in total, we're going to lose 1,400 vacation rental homes in the city. We can still manage in the county, which surrounds us. But I'm just wondering what you guys are doing to invest and help us fight that battle.
Fair question.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a full-time person dedicated just to advocacy on the staff, and I thought Greg was here.
And Greg is here. He's giving a session this afternoon.
Yeah, and
he's our
he's-
advocacy person, and he just hired an assistant.
Yeah, and you want to touch base with him.
Yeah.
They put together a toolkit to give to you to help you to go to your town council and talk about things. He's someone that because I've had stuff in my area that I've been just able to call, and he would look up the bills for me and tell me a best way to battle it and go after it. So he's just a really good person and a resource. We've also worked with Matt Curtis. He's on the board currently, and he fights regulations all over the country. He's also another resource that we've been using.
And there's a whole section on the website on advocacy that you can hook into.
And the URL is advocacy.vrma.org.
Yeah, we know Greg, and we've definitely been down that path. What we really need at this point is funding to fight our legal battles. And we're tapping into the local realtors, national realtors, state realtors, boards. We're tapping into homeowners, obviously. But there's other organizations, for example, Airbnb stepped up, very big, and donated. HomeAway stepped up and donated. But I'm wondering if we can do something through the VRMA. Those membership fees, you talk about not having the little guys I feel like that they got money, they could be donating, and that could potentially go to a fund that can help us around the country.
We do have a fund that we've been doing like the silent auctions for and stuff, and we've done live auctions, which got lively.
Well, it'd be great to get more like Airbnb and all of the other companies and vendors to the industry to be able to donate to that as well.
Yeah.
We could definitely do a lot more and get a lot more fundraising for that.
Because we are an
Yeah.
association, not a business. So, but, and then we have people all over the country and internationally so it becomes a question of how do you spend your resources. But I hear what you're saying, and
Yeah.
we're having a board meeting tomorrow, so the timing
So
is
this will be
perfect.
great, yeah.
Timing's
Yeah.
great.
Just, Claire and I are on that governmental affairs committee, and although they are gathering funds and stuff like that, for us to fight with money from VRMA on individuals, it just is too daunting. There's no way that we could do it. What we're trying to do right now, when we're making different groups within our group, is to try to hit some of the things from the state level and get it rolling on the state level, so then that will create more states kind of trying to hit this. And Greg has been working with the National Board of Realtors, been reaching out to homeowners. I mean, we've been doing a lot, but there's a lot that continues to need to be done. But as far as money coming from the VRMA to fight individual areas, it just won't happen, I don't think.
So I'm Claire, the person she was referring to. Yes, I sit on that committee. I want to encourage all of you, this is kind of a segue into what I was going to say when you asked the question, Susan, what do we want to see? I encourage you guys to find a committee and let your voice be heard. And we are doing a panel this afternoon. I'm actually moderating it, and it's with individual women, including Carrie's sister, Amy, and 2 other women who've done amazingly different things in their communities to let their voices be heard and to influence outcomes in local situations as well as state situations when it comes to regulations. The other thing I wanted to say, so look up those committees. It is well worth it. You find out things you wouldn't know otherwise. And I will also say I agree with you. There are too many fights going on all over the country for Burma to be donating money. It's like we can get the tools from Burma, but when it comes to it, we're on our own locally and regionally to organize around those issues. The other thing I wanted to say is, my wish for Burma is to be very cognizant of the needs of property management companies. I understand that we're bringing in new members, and like us, at one time, we were small companies, and we've grown, and we've learned, and we had people like Al Williams telling us what to do, or your dad, Jodi, leading sessions and helping us and guide our growth. And so I understand that with the smaller companies. But I want us to be cognizant of the businesses, the platforms that end up influencing policy that may not be in the best interest of property managers. That's the part. So when I'm looking at the advocacy committee makeup, the first thing I do is make sure Teresa's on there. I'm counting how many property managers who are on the ground doing the work versus I call them technology managers, who are running platforms, and it's a different goal than what we have to keep our businesses going. So it's another reason I'd say it's so important for us to step up and look up the committees and join these committees so that we are influencing what Burma is doing. That's
Absolutely. Thank you, Claire. We had a question up here.
no.
You got answered.
Did you want to?
I was just going to echo about, I've been going to the advocacy meetings since Matt Curtis, like 6 years, 7 years. The same message being said over and over again was, you know, you need to be proactive. Like, don't think that it won't happen to you. Well, it did happen to me. It happened in our town where we lost 55% of our income. And it was the poster child town in the Monterey Peninsula that allowed nightly and we could count on, and we quoted and we lost it. So, you know, that's the one thing I could say that while I understand you can't give money, just to be able to educate all of us about what we can do to be proactive, which means that if there's no ordinance in your city and you think, well, no problem, you need to get an ordinance and protect yourself, because the next thing you know is someone there saying, we don't want you, and then you're screwed.
We just went through 3.5 years in Virginia Beach, and we came out in January with an ordinance that we can live with. So maybe when you get through that and you have somewhat success, you share that. This is what the city and the town and everybody agreed to. So this is what we've done. So maybe that's a starting point to, be on a more realistic and reasonable side.
Right. People can learn.
People can learn, these are the options. We have 17 ordinances, and some of them are as simple as your garbage has to go to the Black City can. Well, okay, we've been doing that for 50 years, but we'll continue to do it. But they wanted that in there, and so there were a lot of things that were very doable. The biggest thing we fought on was the number of reservations in a 7-day period. They wanted 1. We got it to 2. So, you can have 2 weekends and things like that. Occupancy in houses, parking, things like that. So I would be happy to share our city's ordinance with anybody who wants to see it, and maybe you go to them and say, look at this is such a good compromise.
Right. What city?
Virginia Beach, I'm ready to show you.
There you go.
Yeah. You might want to share that with Greg.
Yeah, and what's the name of your company? What's the name of your company?
Sandwich Blue.
Sandwich Blue, okay, awesome.
I want to share something. We're having a session this afternoon about having a seat at the table. You need to have a seat at your town councils, your county commissioners, so you know when these things are coming up. I serve as mayor.
And you're on the city council.
I'm the mayor of my little town. And I've been on TDA with Melanie and Inland Waterway Association of North Carolina, all things coastal. So, but it is important that you sit there, and when these issues come up, you need to try to nip them in the bud. Everybody, here's my perspective. You're in these resort towns. This doesn't apply to my town because I educate my board about how important this tourism is to us. So my best, I had a guy one time wanted to limit vacation rentals or even do away with them. And I said, so you're going to vote to double everybody's property taxes, because that's what it'll do.
Right.
Our accommodations tax is almost half of our budget, our income. It's as much as our ad valorem tax collection. People need to understand this. Your leaders sometimes, and I have this on a county level, my county level, the voters are not the people that own these vacation homes. They don't vote in our county. They don't vote in our town because they're non-resident owners. But so some of the politicians don't care as much about them. They care about the people that are voting them in office. So you've got to take a different approach and talk about the economy and your way of life. And in these beach communities, I couldn't believe Virginia Beach when they started, and I can't believe Lake Tahoe just passed what they did.
Right.
But it's important that you're there when the discussion starts. Go to your town council meetings. Check their agendas. But you need to be there, and they need to know who you are. You need to be involved. I have realtors and contractors and other vacation rental managers on our town boards. I try to keep them on our advisory boards because it's important. They have a different perspective than the retiree that has come there to retire. And there's only 650 of them in my town that live there permanently and vote. But there are 25,000 people in the summertime and 25,000 different people every week in the summertime. And you need to educate these boards that it is in you try to keep the parties down. We don't rent the college kids. We don't rent the fraternity parties. Residents don't like to see buses come in, but we do have church groups we rent to, and they're well chaperoned and they don't do any damage. And if I get a house party that I didn't know about, I make them leave. North Carolina has a expedited eviction that we can get them out. So I will share one story with you though. I had a resident call me, it's a house I manage, and she said, you have so many kids over here, and there's way too many more than this house will sleep. And they were out on the porch till late last night. And I said, okay, I'll go down and talk to them. And I said, if they disturb you again, call the police. Well, I looked up to see who was in there. It was the homeowner's children.
Always.
I talked to them, but they're not renters. It's the homeowner's children. And so you need to call the police if they're allowed tonight. And I know you know the homeowners, so call them too. I don't care. Go over and talk to them. I'll talk to them. Anyway. Renters get blamed for a lot of things that they're not.
There's a lot to talk about on this topic. We could do the whole time. I mean,
And I'm not, these problems are way above my role
Uh-huh.
in accounting. I love the accounting session. There's only about 6 of us in there. If there could just be more accounting-related networking opportunities in this industry, that would be great for me.
I agree.
Excellent. Okay, we're gonna, this week, I love the discussion, and there's some amazing minds in the room, so you've realized that, and keep that discussion going, but let's do it outside of the panel so we can keep on going with the panel, okay?
Yeah, I'm just curious about how the certification.
Oh, okay. That's one of the,
That's one of the things we were talking about.
yeah, so we can move on to that.
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
I think it's incredible that you guys did
Yeah,
that.
no, thank you, Annie. Yeah.
Where's the certification one? We want to skip to it? Yeah, and talk about it now?
Have you done it yet?
No.
I'm in the
Who
middle
has?
of it. It's a lot of work. Yeah, they've done a great job with it.
So Melanie can
Yeah.
speak to it.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, that's right, you did it.
Carole and I were somehow volunteered to be on that committee.
Together as a
having
team.
no idea how much we were going to be involved in it. But I'm very proud of that. But we spent a couple of years and several weekends or during the week that we would all get together, and we created a really awesome outline. And unfortunately, Pedro is no longer with us, but he was part of that. And he was so instrumental. And it wasn't really a huge group of us, but with the amount of knowledge and the things that we've done, I felt like, wait a minute, you're asking me, I don't have an MBA, I don't have all these things, but I think we created something really wonderful. And that's because it takes a lot to be a professional vacation rental manager. And those of you who are owners on your own, I understand where you're going, but we've been in this business a really long time, and there needs to be something out there that we can put a label to, just like when you have your real estate license and your National Association of Realtor member and those types of things. So that's where we're moving to. And the next stage is the company accreditation, which will be another really wonderful opportunity. So Carole, you can jump in on that.
Right, and so to your point, we have just launched it. You can learn more about it on the vrma.org website. There is a cost, it's not a lot. I'm having everyone on my staff, they're just getting now to be credentialed. I think it'll make a huge difference. In northern New England, we don't have a lot of opportunity for training. I did found, along with Maureen Regan, the New England VRMA, and that's helping a lot, but we meet once a year. So there are others that have owners groups, and we learn this, little things back and forth. That's great sharing. It's a very open, our membership is very open about giving information certainly to non-competitors. But I think that the credentialing will just add a huge level of professionalism to our organization and to our industry, which is changing exponentially. And we're all trying to keep up with all the changes that are some from outside sources are being imposed on us, and with resulting in the regulation issues, and some just by the pure growth that the vacation rental industry has an unlimited amount of resources, and we can keep growing because look at all the housing there is all around the country. I also want to just say one quick thing is that I know in the audience we have suppliers, and I know that we have members of VRMA and others, maybe potential members. We also have people here from different countries. Norway is represented, England is represented, and I don't know everyone here, but just we want to include everybody in all of our discussions.
Yeah, the inclusion. So really what we're talking about with regulation is a result of the growth of the industry, but it's also a result of people operating in a way that might not be professional. And so getting that collaboration and talking with each other is really a big part of it. And that's why we also moved to the certification program and accreditation program, because to the extent that everyone is aware of how to operate professionally, it reflects positively towards the industry, and then you have much more ammunition to go to the city council in order to fight those regulatory battles. It's all connected. And then another piece that we have on the slide as well as we want to talk about is a little bit about how when you're giving great customer service, when you're doing great guest services, how you're actually making sure that you're doing what you need to do in order to really represent our industry and grow your business. So if we want to move on to that topic, I don't know which one of you would like to talk about it first.
Well, I can start it. I'll just, for a second. I do want to say to the accounting person, one of the units in the credentialing is accounting. So
there you go.
But we all do it differently. Massachusetts and North Carolina have strong trust accounting regulations that's different than in some of the other states. I gave a talk yesterday and about inclusion, and I do want to say that the vacation rental, is that what?
No, go ahead. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
That, and many of you, some of you were here that were at the talks. I don't want to repeat everything, but what bears repeating is that our industry is changing. It's not only the growth, well, it's an industry that has 43% women at least, and maybe more. And the VRMA membership is at least 43% women in leadership positions, and certainly I have found that. But growing your business and growing the industry, we're looking at inclusion of all types. The LGBT, the whole issues on race, on religion, on age. There's so many different aspects that we want to make sure that all of our members have strong HR policies, have strong efforts to include people of different races, nationalities, and interest groups in not only into your business, but into your customer base, and that you take a proactive approach to seek those people and not just take a passive approach that they're different than you and you're not looking for them in your customer base. So that's one thing that the VRMA is making strong efforts right now to change a lot of what we've been doing to make it more inclusive in every aspect.
That was really good.
Okay.
VRMA, I mean, some of the things that we've been talking about, we talk about the owners and we talk about our guests, but the guest experience and all that stuff is stuff that you'll see at a lot of different sessions. It's a buzzword. We're all hearing it, that a lot of it's all about the experience. It's the difference in trends of who your guests are, they're changing, who your owner is, that's changing. And so what I found, which is really neat, because we all come from different backgrounds and different markets, and, just to hear what's going on and how you handle them. I mean, just this morning, I thought it was really neat about how they handle just their employees and how they talk about their brand DNA and all that kind of stuff. I thought was neat. But again, VRMA is all about the interactions with each other.
Excellent. Do you want to, yeah? Do you have something? Yeah. Or do you want to,
Well,
any
I'm
of the
thinking of the
topics?
customer experience part, and with the technology and the way that everything is changing, you're getting more. I mean, if you're a smaller company, like what we call mom and pop companies, which we were at one time, if you don't embrace the new technology and the new things that are coming your way, you're going to be left behind. So there are some expenses that you may not be ready for, but if you put in your keyless entry systems, those can pay off themselves if you pull them into other ways, like, for example, into your admin fees or other things that you can do, unless a homeowner is going to be able to purchase that. But there are some more things that you could possibly be doing that will help that customer experience, but also help with the rental of the home, which I said was keyless entries, pet-friendly properties, giving out all your amenities when they check in. She has crazy cool stuff that she gives out to her guests. We do some stuff, nothing like that. But Anyway, go ahead.
So us into a little bit of the trends real quick. I wanted to talk about things that we're seeing. So we talked about the customer experience, but technology. And it was interesting, I was talking, I won't say who, but it was one of our friends, well, Doug Brindley, gotta love him. And he had not been at VRMA for a couple times, or for a couple years. And he came back, he goes, oh my gosh, like what have I missed? Because this industry is changing fast. And if you guys aren't staying on top of things, you do get left behind. I mean, just like if my brother goes to one more technology conference, I might blow my mind. But he's not allowed to change anything. But I mean, software changes. We're talking about phone systems, keyless lock systems, smart home technology. Oh my gosh, he is. I feel like sometimes I'm just jumping.
Sales software.
Yeah, and there's just so much stuff. So you guys got to make sure you're staying on top, and don't be narrow-minded when you're coming to a conference. Like, I don't use them and I use that. You might want to find out what they do, because it might work for you a little bit better than what you're already using, and you might be efficient. So that was something we really focused on, was being efficient last year, and try to streamline some of those processes and communications, and just talking to other people really did help us fine-tune what was best for our company, which might not be the best for everybody.
And who would know about drone photography? What?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Chad. He
Yeah.
doesn't like to talk. You
Yeah.
won't really get Chad up here much, but he has a lot of toys, which they're tools. I have to call them tools now, but drone photography, yeah, it's one of his, yeah, he's outside on those Bluebird days.
Right, right. Well, one of the things about, you mentioned that you can actually increase, I mean, you can see the value of doing the virtual locks, or adding that in and getting that, and quantifying that. So you see that with increased reservations. But the other thing that I think is a big trend, and we have VRMA Insights, what we need to kind of talk about a little bit here, is that you can see versus your competitors in your area, am I growing my revenues just because there's more coming into the area, or is it because of these investments of technology? So do any of you want to talk about a little bit about VRMA Insights and what that is?
Well, it's just information that helps you make really smart decisions. It's just data you guys will receive. It's free to all of our members. I don't think Scott's here right now, but you guys can come talk to me. Or Linnell's here. You can talk to Linnell about joining, but it is free to all of our members. But it does help you guys make good, smart decisions within your company. So if you want more information, let us know. We do have to hurry up because it's almost 11. So the Insights is something that's a big initiative for VRMA. We do have 3 upcoming conferences that I did want to announce real quick. We have the we have the European Conference in Prague in a couple weeks. Yep, I'll be there. Never been to Europe. So excited. And then we have Charlotte in April, and then we have the International Conference back here in New Orleans in October. So,
The Charlotte conference is a deep dive where the international conference is all the suppliers. It's a big overview, but now we're really talking about learning.
yeah, interactive workshops, stuff like that. So a really different way to look at the interactive breakout sessions.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just have a question about embracing technology, and curious if any of you are using voice smart speakers in your homes, if you're incorporating that, and how.
I am not. My brother would love to. But we have not gone that route yet. We've had a lot of changes software-wise, but it's something we've looked at and something he's interested in. I just don't know how I'm trying to wrap my brain about how that's going to work, and we don't have all great internet in our area, so there's some issues we might have where we're located in the mountains.
If you test it, let us know.
Okay.
Right? And if you're going to test it, I would do a few properties. Right?
No, we're not doing that. We should talk about it. I also wanted to point out at this women's group here, conference, that Victoria O'Connell is here in the back, and she has a new business that she's just launching called Go Lightly, if any of you know about Holly Go Lightly. That's a women's focused travel program, and it's very exciting to find startups like this now that are emerging in our industry. So shout out to Victoria.
Excellent.
That's it, guys. That's
I think
11.
we are at time. Yeah.
I have cards. I have the membership brochures for those of you that are not members. But thank you for coming, and hopefully talk to you.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm next at 11.
That's why you're like.